Today, in the logistics dialogue, we are in conversation with Mr. Aviskar Srivastava, one of the young, dynamic entrepreneurs and leaders of the Indian logistics industry. Hi, Aviskar. Welcome to the Logistic Dialogue.
Hello, pleasure being here.
My first question would be, as a third-generation entrepreneur in one of India's leading logistics solutions providers, how are you consolidating and carrying forward the legacy of the PDP Group?
Right. So, yes, the PDP Group has a 50 plus year legacy in the logistics industry. A group started by my grandfather, PD Prasad and Sons, as a customs broker, and then taken up with my father, who expanded into the freight forwarding and warehousing sector as well with PDP International Private Limited. 20 years ago, my dad had another vision of bringing logistics infrastructure to the hinterland region of the Eastern Indian sector, and that led to the rise of Inland Container Depot, our ICD Durgapur in 2006. I have joined my family business in 2014. So, yes, it is indeed a legacy which is documented, which has grown over the years. And my goal has always been that we need to make sure that the company keeps growing in a structured way by building logistics infrastructure and remaining true to the essence of what has defined the PDP group over the past 5 decades, which is consistent solutions and services to our exporters and importers with in-house logistics infrastructure. And in order to do that, my goal as the third generation individual is to ensure the digitalization, the human resources and operational efficiency goes hand in hand with the decades of logistics expertise and trust built, so that we are not only maintaining it but growing it to keep that image alive and going strong for the next few decades as well.
Actually, my next question was somewhat connected. I mean, you are the Chief Innovation Officer here. So would you say that you are kind of, as a young person who's grown up maybe in this century, that you are a perfect fit for the group in this era of rapid technological advancement, especially digitization and AI?
See, I would always say that in today's environment, we have to look at innovation as a necessity, not as a luxury.
Right.
Innovation is something which is going to help companies survive and scale. So, whether I am the right fit or the perfect fit, I would let time be the judge of it. But my role of being an innovation officer is, at the end of each week, at the end of each fortnight, am I asking the right questions to myself? What are the process improvements that have been identified, that have been executed? Have the roles and responsibilities of the people set are being reviewed periodically or being modified to suit the current times? And are we not just getting the new digital tools but actually ensuring it is being implemented down the line properly? So my role, I always believe, as a chief innovation officer, is to make sure that the message is spread across the organization that innovation is a requirement for every job which is going on in the organization, and it is very important for all of us to focus on what is the organizational culture and how do I tie in innovation to help us reach that next business goal.
What are some of the new and innovative ideas and initiatives that you have brought to the group? You talk about implementing. So how are you playing your role there?
Okay, so PDP Group currently has over 200 employees across different locations in the organization. So, in terms of the digitalization and innovative tools brought, first starts the culture setting. We often feel innovation is just tech innovation, but innovation also is on how is a work or a particular task being done by the same set of individuals, where we can save more time and get more efficiency out of the current system. So, one of the things which we have done in PDP Group, we have removed the term managers from our organization. So we don't have any managers anymore in our companies.
Okay.
We have team leads, and the role of the team leads are to ensure that they are monitoring, they are delegating, and they are empowering the next generation ground force which is there, who is actually making the logistics run in the organization. How that happens? Yes, it is a gradual process. It takes time, because it is about making people understand first what is their purpose of working in the organization they are working in, because innovation, for it to be sustained, needs to develop as a culture. it cannot develop just as a task that because I have been told to innovate, I have to find ways.
Right.
It has to happen when employees and individuals are gaining a sense of purpose in the organization and taking that onus on themselves and that ownership on themselves. So as a next generation business owner, my goal has first been to ensure what is the existing infrastructure which is there, is it being utilized effectively, and to take informed decisions with 360-degree feedback of the team.
Broadly, what are the range of services currently offered by the PDP Group, and what are your ongoing and future plans? Any new forays that you plan?
Yes, so PDP Group started with customs clearance, where we have been doing for over 5 decades now customs clearance by sea, air, and land. In land, we are very strong in Bangladesh and Nepal, and in sea, we are catering to all kinds of commodities. We have also started 20 years back our inland container depot operations, which we mentioned,
Yeah.
and we have been doing freight forwarding and by air and sea. In terms of infrastructure is where we have heavily invested in the last 10 years. We now have over 500,000 square feet of warehousing space in West Bengal and Tripura, in the cities of Calcutta, Haldia, Durgapur, and Agartala over there in Tripura. In terms of scaling up, we are now having offices in Vishakhapatnam, in Gandhidham, and we are building a strong agency network through the World Cargo Alliance, where we are now a member for over 4 years. So, moving forward, PDP Group is focused further to invest in logistics infrastructure, whether it becomes new warehouses, whether it is new trailers. We already have now 175 trailers in our own inventory, which is expected to grow to 200 plus within the next 1 year. So the only way we can deliver logistics excellence is when we have less dependencies on third parties.
Correct.
We need to have that control, and that control happens through gradual investments in infrastructure. We are proudly privately owned, so it's very important that we are judicious when it comes to investing. We must make the right decisions. So I see in the next 5 years PDP Group having offices across the country and having a much bigger inventory of warehouses and trailers to deliver that hard logistics infrastructure which is needed for the big shipments to take place.
So you believe in being having assets.
I firmly believe in that. Yes.
Some people talk about asset light and
Correct,
stuff like that,
correct.
but
Yes.
the PDP Group is thinks differently.
I
probably.
agree completely. In fact, yes, when it comes to asset light models, yes, when it comes to customs broking, when it comes to freight forwarding, which is more on the technical side of things, you can focus on asset light to make sure there's more efficiencies in the system so that the current team is doing more works. But when it comes to the actual physical movement of goods, you need those heavy assets. You need your inventory of reach stackers, forklifts, actual warehousing space, trailers. So unless that is there, the technology works as an enabler, but technology can only support the heavy assets which are physically present. So we really believe in the current world, it is still very important to invest in core assets.
No, we are on the eve of ECMF, kind of where the group has been a regular participant, and like Eastern India is your base. Now, how do you think cargo handling and logistics has grown and progressed in the region over the years, during the period when you have been in the business or before that, and especially since when you joined the business in 2014? How do you think has it advanced, or has it grown fast enough, or could be better? What do you think?
So first, I'll definitely say it could be better. Eastern India has its unique advantages and challenges as well. One of the challenges in West Bengal is the lack of draft or the depth at the gateway ports, as a result of which we don't really get the big mother vessels calling here. They are mainly calling in the western ports. So there are transit issues which take place. Certain cargoes which are very time bound for the US and Europe are still routed through the western ports, and that has something which will take, again, this is a natural challenge, so this is not something which is going to be resolved anytime soon. But what I feel in Eastern India is now exporters and importers are realizing the need for having organized logistics players working for them, which 10 years ago may not have been the case. In the race for the L1, we were often seeing customers compromise on the quality of the logistics service provider, and that would lead to much bigger penalties in terms of shipment shortages or in terms of just cargo damages due to logistics inefficiencies. Where I see an improvement is exporters and importers are now realizing it's important to work with a logistics partner who will of course be there when things are good, but when things are not so good, that's when you actually understand the caliber of your logistics partner and how much out of the way they are willing to go for it. And I'm really happy to see ECMF grow. ECMF started in Calcutta and it has continued its journey because again there is acceptability in the trade now for something new. When someone is coming in with programs like this, there is more participation because people want to be more aware of what is happening in the logistics industry. It's no longer just an industry where people think this is only movement of goods from point A to point B. No, there is planning involved. There is a lot of permutations and combinations, and I'm seeing that improve with the hope that there will be more cargo volumes and more industries also coming in as well.
My next question was some of the constraints and shortcomings in this region, which you have partly covered. But what changes would you like to see, including on the policy and regulatory fronts?
We need better rail connectivity with proper timelines of when the rail movements will take place. Today, for the ESG, when we talk about the sustainable environment goals, when we are talking about big cargo movements, we cannot ignore the container rails because they can move 90 containers at a time. That frees up congestion at the roads as well. Where we face challenges in Eastern India is there are not those planned container rail schedules in place. As a result, it's becoming a chicken and egg situation. Customers want to use rail services, especially from ICD Durgapur, but because there is no fixed rail schedules in place with the fixed transit, they are not very confident to use it because no one wants to end up missing vessels. At the same time, these container trains, if they start running more efficiently, can really help connect the containerized cargo of Eastern India all across the world to the mother vessel, through the mother vessels. So this is one area I would really hope for seeing more improvements is better rail connectivities and better container rail infrastructure at Durgapur, at Calcutta, at Haldia with options of multiple container rail operators instead of just one or two. That will increase efficiency.
No, your father, Mr. Pramod Kumar Srivastava, is a titan of this industry. What are the key lessons you have learned from him in his journey of how he set up the group and brought it to this level?
I keep learning from him every day. He's still very active. He's still very passionate about logistics industry, and he always wants to ensure that the industry should keep progressing. Because he always believes if the industry keeps progressing, everyone will benefit. So we should always figure out what are the ways in which we can contribute with our opinions, with our feedbacks, with our investments that will help develop the entire logistics ecosystem. He took a bold decision with creating an infrastructure in Durgapur. At that time there was really no infrastructure there. So he has always been very bold that if the infrastructure will be there, the trade will follow, the trade will come there. And that has been his vision, which has also guiding me to think long term. Don't think what is going to be the result in 6 months. Think when you create infrastructure, what is it going to give a return over a 10-year, over a 25-year period. And as a result, we started with an investment in Tripura region, which is again very underserved in terms of logistics infrastructure. But what is the goal? That as the infrastructure is there, there is going to be more trade, there is going to be more options available. So I learn a lot from him, but if you ask me one key takeaway, it is to think long term when it comes to logistics projects and give feedback which can actually give benefit to the entire trade, not just for one company.
I mean, why Tripura? There are other states in the northeast. Why specifically Tripura?
Okay, so specifically, Indian government has focused a lot on the inland waterways, and at one point, the inland waterways was being really pushed. Of course, there are now some geopolitical tensions between India and Bangladesh. But right now, what happens is if you look at the road movement towards the northeast, it passes through an area called the Chicken's Neck, which is a very congested area, and there are a lot of choke points in those areas. So the Indian government really wants a water route through the Indo-Bangladesh protocol route, where cargoes can move from Haldia through coast to the northeastern states and that will really help the efficiency and bypass that chicken's neck.
Okay.
So Tripura becomes the first port of call into, or the nearest port of call through the Indo-Bangladesh protocol route.
Correct. Correct.
And
Okay.
they have even have an Agartala land custom station over there, with plans to have more custom stations in areas like Sabroom. That was the reason why 2 years ago we have invested in Tripura, as we feel the next logical development is going to happen in the northeast, because there is a lot of infrastructure requirements there, and Tripura will become the base for the future.
Okay. Congratulations on becoming a published author and on the success of your book, Next in Line: Youngster's Guide to Indian Family Business. What prompted you to go in for this venture, and what is the core message of this book?
Yes, writing the book Next in Line has been something of a great experience for me personally. So, what made me write this book? I have attended events like ECMF, and I've been grateful. I've been recognized as Face of the Future by ECMF a few years back. So, after these events, during the networking time, which is what we all look forward to, few youngsters would keep approaching me. And they would say that it's really great to see a youngster on stage receiving recognition or giving speeches. We are always used to seeing senior industry members being there. But we only get to talk to you or hear from you once a year or twice a year when we meet you. How can we actually stay connected and learn about your experiences? Because you are where we want to be 5 years from now. That thought stuck with me, and in 2022 I started with a plan. Let me write a blog, or let me write something which I can share with the trade. So that was the concept behind starting this book, and then we have this book now, Next in Line, which has been released by Rupa Publications, and I'm very grateful. It is now one of the best sellers on Amazon as well. So yes, the book was to give something meaningful for a next generation business owner joining the Indian family business. It could be a logistics business, it could be an export house, it could be a hotel business, it could be anyone. But when next generations come into the business, they are faced with different challenges and opportunities. Most of their friends think they won the lottery, they don't need to work in a job. The parents also have expectations that they will help transform the business to the next level. But what are the actual challenges which are faced when you are dealing with employees who have seen you as a kid, and now you have to also work with them, at times give strict instructions to them? So I researched, and there were hardly any books that talk from a youngster's perspective on when they join. That was the motivation of writing. And yes, what started as a blog ended up being a few chapters, and then it stuck to me that why not I make it a book. So the book was completed last year, and then I looked for publishers. I found Rupa Publications. Now it's out in the market, and I hope it benefits youngsters and they find something relatable from the book.
Sure, it will. I mean, not only national awards, you're also a winner of an international award, the Fieta Young Logistics Professional Award in 2022, which means that you think a lot about the industry and how to take it forward. How, according to you, can logistics and the wider supply chain be made more seamless and unified and more integrated?
Yes, so FIETA is an international association of freight forwarders, and they have this competition each year for the young logistics professionals. I participated in 2022, where I won from India, and then I became the first Indian to win the award for the entire Asia Pacific region. What I understood is international associations are looking for what are the logistics providers in India doing which goes beyond the general container movement. Are you helping to transform a trade lane? Are you helping in changing the conventional routes of movement to bring in more sustainable measures? As a youngster, what are you trying to change, rather than what are you just continuing to do which was being done in the past? And associations like FIETA have an expectation from the trade: keep transforming and keep rethinking what are your existing routes, what are your existing ways of working, and they really like to recognize any project which has challenged the status quo and made a sustained impact on the actual logistics which is there.
Now coming to a kind of a topical thing, there's this West Asia conflict going on, which over the, I think, past 2-3 days seems to have gotten worse. So how has that impacted shipping and logistics in this region, companies like yours, and what measures are you taken to mitigate some of those challenges?
Unpredictability is the biggest challenge when it comes to supply chain, and with the West Asia conflicts, every day some new matters are coming in the news. So it is a very tough situation right now. One of the biggest challenges faced is the fund blockage. An exporter has shipped the cargo, it's in transit, and then the cargo is being told to come back because of the geopolitical tensions and war issues. So now what happens, there is first of all logistics cost which is increasing. The containers are coming back, the funds are stuck, and then there is new processes which have to be done for the formalities to bring the containers back, or to re-export it again through different ports. So a lot of productive time of the logistics industry and the wider Exim industry is being used up by the conflict to just mitigate issues. We have already seen diesel prices are on the rise, and this is a very serious matter.
Correct.
Because in my city, Calcutta, where a diesel price was 92.6 for 2-3 years, has now jumped up to 99.8, which is almost 100 rupees. And these increases are going to be a major challenge because it has to be passed on to the end user. They are
Absolutely.
understanding that, but what is happening is people are in a mindset right now to mitigate risks and to consolidate. They are not looking at going further right now for big projects. They are stalling it because everything depends on energy. Everything depends on actually can my product reach the target market on time and at an agreed fee. When these things are changing, when freight rates are changing, so in such a volatile manner, with war surcharges and different kinds of surcharges coming, so this is not a solution which I believe we or any other logistics players can give. This is much beyond us, as it involves multiple countries.
Correct.
So unless we see some stability, some dialogue coming in place, we can expect tough times ahead, as we are seeing right now.
Finally, what would be your message to the trade as an entrepreneur, as a leader of a top logistics company, and as a next generation in a legacy organization? What would be your message to the wider trade?
My message to the logistics industry would be that we first need to accept and firmly believe that we are working in a high prestige industry. Unless we start believing that, it's going to be very difficult for even attracting top talent into our industry, for even attracting the next generation to come to our family businesses. Because it's very important, first, what are we talking about in terms of our dinner conversations? Are we telling the next generation, look, you try for all the opportunities, and if nothing is there, then the family business is there? If we think like that, it is going to be very difficult for the next generation to come in and innovate. So that is one message which I would like to give. And the second is, there's a lot of activities happening on the educational front. The Logistics Skill Council is now really involved in ensuring that undergraduate programs, rather graduate programs and postgraduate programs, have logistics specializations. So try to take in freshers into your company as apprentices or as full-time employees who have done some logistic courses, and I'm sure that will add a lot of value in your organization as well.
Aviskar, thank you very much.
Thank you.